Hey everyone, Mr. MC here, back with another not Gran Turismo video. This is actually from the Crew Motorfest, and this is one of my other go-to racing games lately. And it's a game that I like playing a lot, so thought I'd decide, you know what, I'm going to make a video on it again after a while. And this Grand Race is where you race with up to 27 other people from your console and other consoles as well. Although interestingly, this race was mostly PlayStation people. I think there was only like 3 people that were not from PlayStation, but you know, this is something I want to point out. And this race, this specific race, is probably one of my greatest achievements in the Crew Motorfest or in a Grand Race, is to give everyone the DNF or the did not finish. To simply put it, you have to finish at least 50 seconds ahead of everyone. So you have to know what the meta cars are, because that's what's going to make it easier for you to make this happen. And you have to know the shortcuts, even the super cheesy shortcuts, which is one that you're going to see in a bit, and be extremely rapid. And oh yeah, so here comes the cheesy shortcut where you have to time it right. You press the back on track button, where it teleports you back to the track, but because of how that part of the race is laid out, you can basically just avoid having to take that hairpin under the bridge. And yeah, there you go, you just gain a couple of seconds right there. There are other segments where you can do the same thing, the whole teleportation back on track shenanigans. It doesn't happen anymore in this video because that was the only one in this Grand Race, but yeah, there's a couple around where if you do it just right, you're able to gain quite a bit of time and yeah, just do lots of cheesy stuff. Going through here, just trying to be rapid, also managing the nitrous. So for those who don't know, you have to keep the nitrous bar on the left, you have to keep it at least half full, because if you dip it under the halfway point, the nitrous charges a bit slower, and the nitrous output isn't as strong as where it's at least half full. So I'm always trying to keep the nitrous at least half full, just so I can make sure I get more nitrous power in for the thing to charge up a bit faster. And also another thing I want to know is, and I guess it's a bit more for this specific segment of the Grand Race, where I'm using the trees and the bushes to slow me down a bit more, especially because it's, yeah, I think it was raining in this race, so the surface is wet. It takes a bit longer to slow it down, so just use the bushes, slow yourself down a bit more, and then go ahead and make your turn. So that made my life a little bit easier going through those series of hairpins just now. And it was actually during those hairpins, or going through those hairpins, where I started to realize, like, wait a second, I actually might be onto something here. I might be on a run where I can potentially DNF everyone. And you'll especially notice this towards the end of the race, where I start to use the nitrous a lot more, so I'm not managing it as much, because I want to try to keep up as much speed as possible. And they're going to use all my nitrous here because we were switching stages from Rally Raid to Street Tier 1. So I went from the BMW Z4 to the Audi RS2 Avant, and right away taking some shortcuts right there. And going to go ahead and use quite a bit of nitrous because I want to try to get my speed up, and just try to be careful about getting onto the grass so I don't slow down too much. Try not to lose that momentum as we're in a high speed section of this Grand Race. And it's going to try to be really careful through here, just letting off of the throttle, let the car rotate. Ooh, just barely dipping onto the dirt on the left, and still just trying to maintain the momentum, doing a bit of gutter runs. And for those that don't know, gutter runs, especially in the Grand Race, yeah, there's a lot of areas where you can do the gutter runs. So dipping 2 wheels onto the dirt as you go along a corner helps you go through a corner at a faster speed. That's a pretty big thing in the Crew Motorfest, at least for the Grand Races. It's a pretty big thing, and at least for me, it's pretty easy to do it with this car. I know there are others where it's not as easy, but I just want to point that out. This corner is pretty scary because you can carry a lot of speed through here, but if you turn in just a little too early, you would definitely hit the wall on the left, and that would just murder your momentum. Luckily, I was able to get the turn just right and able to carry that speed to that corner. Going through a couple of trees like if it's nobody's business. And yeah, and I think it's going to be somewhere around here where I start to really realize how far ahead I am. And at this point, it's like, okay, I need to be pretty much spot on with this. And yeah, I think it's going to be around here because second and third place are going to appear. They're going under the bridge that we went through earlier. There they go. So that's why I realized, oh my goodness, I might actually make this happen. So this is where I start to get a little nervous because like, okay, I have to get everything perfect now. I have to try not to mess it up. And of course, just try to maintain as much speed as possible and just kind of just really push myself at this point. So now I'm in the Chevrolet Camaro, which is one of that was a little close right there. Almost ruined my run right there. And Chevrolet Camaro, one of the better cars for the racing category. I think actually probably arguable that this is probably the best car for the racing category. And again, just trying to maintain that speed, get myself back up to speed, especially after going through a turn or going through a couple barriers. And yeah, there you go. You can see that I'm starting to get a little desperate now and just trying to really keep that speed and start to use the nitrous even more now. And then just trying to be careful to here. And just try not to hit the walls because grazing those walls can sometimes slow you down so much. And again, just using a bit more nitrous, just getting even more nervous at this point. And just hoping I don't ruin my run, don't hit the wall, especially these yellow walls, because sometimes even if you graze it just a little bit, it can slow you down to a near stop. And it's always frustrating when that happens. And then there's these stone walls that appear every now and then. Those you want to avoid, like the ones on the right. You don't want to hit those. Those will slow you down a lot. So just trying to be a bit careful through there. Bit of a shortcut right here. Just trying to straight line it through there because the Camaro doesn't like being on the dirt or the grass for too long. And here we go. So we're going to hit the finish line. Use the rest of the nitrous. And then it's pretty much the waiting game where... well, I'll have to wait 50 seconds and hope that no one crosses the finish line. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and wait right after the finish line. And I'm actually going to go ahead and fast forward to this. So basically just playing the waiting game, hoping that I finish at least 50 seconds ahead of everyone. And yeah, it was a bit I was a bit anxious, just waiting to see what was going to happen, waiting to see if a car's going to show up on the bridge. And it's actually going to be right around here where I do see a car show up, but like right away it's like, oh no, he's going to finish the race, but he's going to get DNF'd as well. And it was really close because he was off by about a second. So if I made a semi-big mistake, he would have finished right before that DNF, but... yeah, I got pretty lucky, especially like at the start of the third stage with the Camaro where I almost binned it. I got really lucky right there. But yeah, this was a challenge that I was trying to do for a while. It's so much easier said than done. You have to get so many things right. But yeah, luckily I was able to finally do it. And I don't want to do this every again. It's way too difficult to make it work. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I do want to try to upload something from other racing games, maybe at least once a weekend. I know I do have a bunch of the Crew Motorfest clips that I have just hanging around in my hard drives where there's some really good moments and there's some really silly shenanigans that happens. Maybe upload clips from other racing games that I happen to come across. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I just want to get my creative juices flowing again. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and that's going to be it for me. So this is Mr. MCA, and I'll see you in the next video.